This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
2, 1. Okay, good Erev Shabbos Rabbi. We have phenomenal information today, depending on one thing, depending that you don't spoil it. Don't be that guy today, okay? Don't be that guy. You say, oh, I understand where you're going. Good, that's what you're supposed to. Just don't spoil it for everybody else. Okay. Okay, if you do, you officially will not receive Shalach Manas, for not from me, not from anybody. I will, no. Okay, first we want to welcome everybody listening on J-Root Radio. If there is anybody listening on J-Root Radio, we want to welcome everyone watching on TorahAnytime.com. We want to watch the thousands and thousands of holy neshamas that are listening here in Young Israel of Kew Garden Hills. Okay, it's only a few people, but it's okay. Marv Rabbi Sai, here we go. Megillas Esther. V'hamelech shav miginas habisan al beis mishtei hayayin v'haman noifel. Haman noifel. What does noifel mean? What does noifel mean? Falling, present tense. Doesn't say v'haman nafal. Falling. Ala mitah asher Esther aleha, on the bed that Esther was upon her. Okay, what does that mean? V'ayomer hamelech hagam lichboish es hamalka yimi baboyis hadavar yatzam pi hamelech fnei Haman chafu. Fine. Says in Gemara Megillah, Daf Tezayin Amud Aleph, v'Haman noifel amita noifel nafal mi boile. It says falling. It should say he fell. Amar Lezer melamid sheba malach v'hipila aleha. Haman was standing there, like a tzaddik, like a chassid, like a yashar, like a neman, like a parush. Haman with machshavos tahayros. And a malach came, you hear this, Maisa? A malach came and pushed him. Yeah? You know, it's like the guy, he's convicted of a crime. He says, what? I tried not to do it. I really didn't want to. I was standing there, I was having machshava, I was actually being misboinin and misboided at the same time. And a malach came and pushed me on. But that's what happened to Haman. Comes the Chida, I didn't even realize I have this from the Chida. The Chida wrote a commentary on Megillas Esther called Nachal Eshkoel. And the Chida asks a very interesting question. Why did the malach make this happen? I mean, here Haman, yeah, he's a Rasha, but right now, he's just pleading for his life. He has no kavanah to be mezana with Esther. That's the furthest thing. He's not a complete shoyta shabbat. Why would he do that in the palace? I mean, come on. And the malach comes, no intention on his behalf, and shoves him into her. Why would the malach do that? Ask the Chida, v'yesh lachkar, she'haman le'kiven lezeh, ve'ech ba'malach, v'hipiloi ad levay chamas hamelach. Hagam lichboish. V'aloi zeh sheker. V'eich hamalach asakain. Everybody knows malachim are honest. They're honest beings. Why would they do something like that? Now, the Chida says, v'hapashut b'zeh. The pashut pshat is, that's the kasha of the Heilige Chida.
What number is it?
Number 3. V'hapashut b'zeh, the simple interpretation, the aminu ba'alma, we say in general, hu asa shaloi kahagen, afanu nasi ma shaloi kahagen. There's a rule in life, you get what you dish out. Uviyois Haman mechuyev kamravois misas avanois vavanas avoisav. The guy is chayiv a million different death penalties. Ein ze klum klapi tugi avanois vavamilsas utras legabe. Are you serious? That's what you're asking? He does deserve it. There are enough things that he did wrong in his lifetime that we could chap him and make him do something that he didn't do. And another thing, the malach didn't say sheker. It's not like the malach told Achashverosh he's trying to be koivesh the queen. He just pushed her, and that's what Achashverosh thought. So it's ta'as akum, ta'as akum is mutter. The halacha is that you're not to chas v'sham, you're not to steal from a guy. Ta'as akum has different parameters. Of course, we try to make a kiddush Hashem. And then the Chida brings something very interesting. Chida says, Amna Matsasi, we find there's a medrash that the Manos Halevi quotes, a very interesting medrash. And the medrash says that when Haman was talking to his Oyhavav, or that the Oyhavim and Zeresh was talking to Haman, and you know what Haman tells them? He told them the most ridiculous thing you ever heard in your life. He said, you should know, She'im ha'yeshah me'Esther hi misratz alai. The Medrash says that Haman said one of the most nonsensical things you'll ever hear. That he tells his wife, Chacham from the Manashtan of this guy, tells her, you should know, Rebbetzin, he says to her, that if I would make an advance to Esther, she would go for it right away. That's what the Medrash says. What's he talking about in Shaita? What's he saying? He says, the Medrash says, Shema Yishoyel me'Esther, he misratz goes a Rav Manus Levi, in the Pasuk, Aflo hivia Esther. You know why Haman says, Aflo hivia Esther Amalka? I'm the only one Esther invited. You know why? That's what he tells his wife. Yeah. Umamela nira. So the pshat is like this. That means in his mind, he's having machshavas rois with Esther. By Goyim, Hashem is machashev machshava l'maisa. So Hashem says, oh, you had the machshava? We're going to nail you for the maisa now. Umamela nira de begoyim machshava roa misareves l'maisa chen ba malach v'hipila kedin. Now it's interesting. Pnei Haman chafu, says the Chida. The gematria of Haman, what's the gematria of Haman? 95. 95 is the same as chafu in Makoilal. That's what it means. The Pnei Haman chafu, that means nemer l'shmai. Okay, but be it as it may, Rabbi Sai, there are two things we want to speak out. Number one, the question we asked, that the Chida asked, that why would the Malach make something happen to him that's sheker? Why would he push him if that was not his kavanah, that was not his intention? So the Chida says, in his machshavas. Okay, that's the answer. The Chida, we're going to explore another answer. Number two, why is Haman saying this ridiculous thing and telling his wife, you know, if I would be Toiveya Esther, she would go for it. Well, what's that all about? So it's very interesting. This past Parshas, I believe Lech Lecha, I had the privilege to speak in London. So I got there on a Wednesday evening, and then Thursday afternoon, the privilege to go to Manchester. And in Manchester, I went to my host, was a very chashuv yid, Reb Pinchas Brandeis. And with tremendous hospitality, he welcomed me. And he says, Rabbi, you have to see this unbelievable sefer. So what is this? He shows me the sefer is Lechem Lefi Ataf. I have to say, I never heard of it. And he said, this was written by Rabbi Yitchak Chai Buchbaza. Okay. And then he showed me an incredible thing about Haman, which I totally forgot about. But luckily, I was cleaning off my night table, which has way too many svarim on it. And I remembered, there's an amazing thing about Haman in there. So here we have it. Okay. So, by the way, on the way back from Manchester, we took a train, and halfway through the train ride, the train broke down, and we're stranded there in between Manchester and London. Somebody had jumped onto the train, and the train had, you remember what happened to Haman? Well, that's what happened to this person. So we were stuck on the train, but that's a story for a different time. Okay, so look at number 4. Rabbi Lazar Migarmaiza. This is the Sefer Lechem Lefi Ataf. In the Sefer Shari Bina, quoted by the Manas HaLevi, quoted by the Chida, that Haman says to his Oyhavim, that if he would be Toiveya Esther, she would go with it. Says the Lechem Lefi Ataf, Hu Rachak Min HaSeichel. It's very far-fetched. First of all, who's going to put their eye on the wife of the king? You're jeopardizing your life. Haman's going around saying that if he would be Toiveya Esther, we're Meshugana. This is the king's wife. The king will kill you. If he thinks you're even thinking, he'll kill you. What did Haman see in Esther that Haman thought that if he would be Toiveya her, she would go with it? Oh, because she invited him? That's the normal protocol of the queen. to invite with the king some of the royalty and some of the officials. That implies that really she should be calling other people, and she chose whom? But why did Haman to think that if he would have been Tovei Esther, she would have gone with it? Okay, so I want to share with you an amazing thing. This comes from none other than the Arizal himself, quoted by the Sefer Lechem Lefi Ataf. There's a pasuk in Shoftim. Min hashamayim nilchamu hakoychavim mimesi loisam nilchamu im Sisra. Does anybody know where it says that? Does anybody know? Does anybody know? This is the Shiur of Devorah. Very good. This is the Shiur of Devorah, and it says in the Shiur. Very good. Mr. Heimwitz, good job with him, right?
The girls learned it Baal Peh.
What does that have to do with you?
My sister learned it Baal Peh.
Okay. Min hashamayim nilchamu. From the heavens they waged war. Hakoychavim mimasiloisam. The stars from their path. Nilchamu im Sisra. Says the Heilig Arizal. Hakoychavim. The stars. Mimasiloisam. From their path. Nilchamu. Rashi Tevois. Haman. Haman. What's Haman doing there in Shiras Devorah? Says the Arizal that there's a man by the name of Sisra. And who vanquished Sisra? Yael. And how did she vanquish Sisra? We're going to see very soon. In Perek Daled, Pasuk Yud Ches, Sisra was confounded. Who waged war against Sisra? Barak, right? No relation to the former president of the United States, but Barak. And he waged war against Sisra, and Sisra ran, Vayanas Baraglav, and Barak ran after him. And all the camp of Sisra was vanquished with Charev. Nobody was left. The Sisra Nas Baraglav, El Oyhel Yael, Eshes Chever Hakeni. He ran to Yael's tent, and we're going to see what happened there. Says that Arizal on the Shar HaGilgulim, Ki gam hu haya nasun b'klipas Sisra. Haman was placed in the shell of Sisra. Ki Haman v'Sisra shneim mimikar echad. Haman and Sisra were from one source. Ki shneim him b'klipas hadas. V'noida, it's known Rav Shimon Bar Shilas was Mesharish Kayin. This is the side of Hakoychavim Mimasilaisam Nilchamu Rashi Tevois Haman. So there's a sefer Minchas Elio Rabbi Yoakoin of Izmir, the Baal Shevet Musar. It says in the Shiras Devorah that what did Sisra ask for? This is Parakeh Pasuk Chavches. It says like this. It says Chavhei, excuse me. It says Mayim Shal, he asked for water. Chalav Nasana, she gave milk. B'seifel Adirim, in a stately saucer. Hikriva Chema, she brought cream. What did she give him to drink? Water, milk. Says the Minchas Eliyahu, why did Esther put an end to Haman through Mishtei Hayayin? Based on the Arizal, Esther was a nitzvotz of Yael. Haman was a nitzvotz of Sisra. Therefore, what comes around goes around. The first time she got him with the beverage. This time she says, we're going to try something different. Mayim, chalav, this time we're going for the real deal. We're going with the yayin. But she repeated the same tactic. Like the pasuk says, Mayim shal, chalav nasana, and she got him drunk, and she killed him. So too, Hashem was Magalgal, that Esther would bring about the demise of Haman through Mishtei Hayayin. Why is there a mitzvah chayv adam lebesume bepuraya? Because the miracle happened through wine. What miracle? The downfall of Haman, which was repetition of the downfall of Sisra. Let's take a look at some of these psukim. V'ateitze Yael likra Sisra v'atoymer elav. She says to him, Surah Adoini, Surah Elai, Al Tira, don't worry. All your worries will be allayed very soon. Very soon, you have nothing to worry about. So he turns to her. So she covers him in the smicha. What does that mean?
Blanket.
In the blanket. I want a drink. Says, drink a bicycle, drink as much as you want. And he said to her, stand by the entrance of the tent. And this way, if anybody comes and says, where is Sisra? You're going to say, I don't know. So what did she do? She takes she takes the steak. She comes stealthily and she gently plunges the peg into his temple. And what happened to him? And it went through into the ground. She did a pretty good job. I mean, she got the peg from one side of his temple all the way through his brain, and it went into the ground. V'hu nirdam, and he dozed off. Vayaf, he fainted. Vayamos. That was the end of him. Yeah. Yeah. So that was, he really slept well that night. What? Yeah, the Gemara says elsewhere it was Aver Lishma. Yeah. Yada. Yeah, the puzzle. Yada la yasei tishlachna. This is the Shir's Dvara. Yada la yasei tishlachna vimina lahalmos amelim. What does that mean? She sent forth her hand to the peg. Vimina in her right hand. Her right hand, what did she do? Lahalmos amelim. To the laborer's hammer. What did she do to her head? Machak, thank you. Machak Arosha, she shattered her head. Umachat Savachofa Rakasai, and smashed and pierced his temple. Now what happened? Look at this. Bein Ragleha, at her feet, he knelt to have relations. Kara, he knelt. Nafal, he fell. Shachav, he slept. Bein Ragleha, Kara, Nafal, Ka'ashar. Kara, when he knelt, Sham Nafal Shadad. Says the Sefer Lechem Lefiataf. Haman is number 12. Haman is a nitzitz of Sisra. And Esther was a Gilgul of Yael, Ishes Chaver Akeni. And just like Sisra fell in the hands of Yael, Haman too fell beyond Esther. This is the meaning, HaKoichavim, Memesilasam, Nilchamu, is Rashi Tevois, Haman. And this is what the Minchas Elyo quotes, and that is why Esther invited him to the party to repeat the tactic that works the first time. As they say in life, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. If you're able to vanquish evil enemies by putting them to sleep with a beverage and then smashing their brains, then if it works, it works. There's no reason to come up with another mahalach. Therefore, says the Lechem Lefiataf, let's take the letters of Sisra. Sisra ends with a Resh and an Aleph. What's the gematria of Resh Aleph? What's the gematria of Haman b'miloi? Hey. 201. Haman Heyud 15. Mem 80. Nun Vav Nun 106. 106 and 80 is 186 and 11 and 156 and let's see if this makes any sense. So Reish Aleph is 201 and Haman b'miloi is what? Nun is 106, 80, 186, and 15. Perfect is 201. To be merames that the end of Sisra, what's the end of Sisra? The Reish Aleph. The end of Sisra is going to be Nisgalgal as Haman, and he is going to get what Sisra deserved. So So then he says something very interesting. Rabbi say, now we know, the Gemara wants to know, why does it say Haman was falling? It should say he fell.
No problem.
So the Gemara says a malach came and he pushed him. And the Chida wants to know, poor guy, that wasn't his kavanah. Why would the malach do this to him? Says the Lechem Lefi Ataf, according to what we just learned, it's beautiful. Don't you tell me he didn't have this in mind. Not only did he have this in mind, he did it! When? Sisera, like we mentioned, tried to have relations with Yael. According to the Gemara, he did. Therefore, Begilgul Rishain, where it says Bein Ragleh Kara Nafal, therefore Gam Ata, the Malach pushed him Limtsai Avoinoi Harishain. Therefore, he says, you could say, aside from the drush of Chazal, V'Haman Noifel, not that he fell now Mechadash. Nafal would be he fell now. Noifel means he's been doing this a long time already. This is his practice. Really? Since when? The Sisera guy, since Sisera. He already fell the first time around. This is Marumas in the Pasuk. Listen carefully. Ala mitasher Esther Aleha. Aleha is Oisiyos. Yaela. It says Yael, but her name is Yael. There's a Yael, the same way there's an Ayal and an Ayala. There's also a Yael and a Yaala. Like the Medaktikim say in the Pasuk, Ayala Sahavim V'Yala Schen. Yaala Shelchen. So there's something called a Yaala. V'Ratzaloymar Haman Noifel. And he's in the same place. You know where he is? On the bed Asher Esther Yaala. You know who Esther is? Esther's not Olah. Esther is the Gilgulim of Yael. Fine. Now you can say like this.
This is Arizal readiness?
No, this is the Lechem Lefi Hataf, based on the Arizal. Based on the... Okay, my Rabbi say one last thing. And Haman says, Hagam lichvoish asamalka imi babayis. What's the gematria of Hamalka?
80.
Almost.
47, 40, 70, 80.
No. Hamalka is 100. With a yud is 110. You say, what do you mean with a yud? But it doesn't say a yud. But let's say, theoretically, if it would say a yud, what would it be? 110. Watch this. So the king says, Hagam lichvaz malka imi babayis hamalka im yud. Listen to this. The Efshar Lefarish HaPasuk Vayomer Melech Hagam. The word Hamalka is 100. With Yud, it's 110. Who's 110? Yael. Yael is 110. So there's...
You get 110 the Yud from Malka.
Hagam Lichvish is Hamalka imi. Hamalka im Yud. Hamalka im Yud. Kari be im Yud bebayis. Meaning... You're going to live with the Malka Imi? It's not enough you do the Yael the first time, you're going to do it again? Bad enough you did it privately, a sister on the middle, nobody knew about it. Now you can do it in the palace with Yael? My Rabbi say, this answers the question that the Rabbi Glatstein Migar Ma'isa says that Haman tells his wife, by the way, if I beat Tevea Esther, she'd go with it. How does he know? How does he know? Past experience. Past experience, he knows.
Haman knew he was the Gilgulim sister. If he knew he was the Gilgulim sister, he wouldn't have put himself in that position.
Not only that,
but in the end, he gets his head chopped off.
That's why, he figures he ain't coming for a milk party, He knew one thing, he's not coming to have chocolate milk with Esther. He knew it's not going to end well. But if he avoids the milk and the cheese, this time he hears yayin, he says, Baruch Hashem, it's only yayin. He has no bad experiences with wine. So says, Der Lechem Lefi Ataf, why would he say, how would he know? Why would he boast about the fact that if he be Tovei Es? The answer is, and how did he know she would go with it? The answer is, Umikana Talamed Shikagdara. His mazel saw his already past experiences, and therefore he figured, what comes around goes around. So Mar Rabbi, this is based on some of the soidos that the Arizal is Megala, that, as we mentioned, Haman was somehow a Gilgul of Sisera, Esther is a Gilgul of Yael, and as they say, history repeats itself. That's why you gotta, learn from your past experiences. Rabbi said, wish everyone a good Shabbos, but I'm going to tell you a few things on the Parsha. Okay, so just to add on one nakuda to what the Lechem Lefi Ataf says, that Haman was a Gilgul of Sisera, at the end of Shiras Devaira, it ends off, Kein yoivedu kol hayevecha Hashem v'yoy havav kitzeis Hashem esh b'gvurasai. Fine. It says, likewise, let all the enemies of God fall down. Why are we making reference to any other enemies of God? Why would the Shira end, just like Sisera fell, let all the enemies of God fall? So according to what we're saying, it comes out very beautiful, that since Sisera was Neskalga and Haman, so the Navi is saying, just like this guy fell, so too let it happen to all the enemies of God. Rabbi say, this time for real, have a great Shabbos.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.